Probation violations and potential consequences. In Indiana, if you're charged with a criminal offense, a lot of times one of the consequences of that offense is going to be a period of time that you're placed on probation. Now, probation can either be formal, where you're meeting face-to-face with a probation officer, or sometimes it can be informal, where it's more communicating over the phone, or sometimes in Marion County specifically, there's kiosks that you can go to report in person. Whether or not you get reporting or not reporting probation can depend on various things throughout your case. A lot of times it depends on the particular court you're in, the county you're in, or what you're originally charged with. Now, formal probation is what it sounds like. It's formal. It's going to have all the standard terms and conditions of probation that you would typically think of. So you'll be assigned a probation officer. That probation officer is going to get your contact information, and you'll have to have periodic meetings with them. At these meetings, they're going to be asking you how you're doing, whether or not you're finishing or on the way to finishing any sort of specific terms that may have been in your sentence, whether or not you've had any other run-in with law enforcement, and most of the times during these meetings they're going to drug test you as well. A lot of times when you're on probation, you're going to be subject to random drug testing. Now, that might mean that your probation officer is going to drug test you every time they meet face-to-face, or they could randomly text you asking you to come in at a random time just to make sure that you're not violating terms of probation. When you're originally sentenced and the judge reads to you the terms of probation, it's at that point that you're bound by those terms, and any violation of those terms can be a violation of your probation. So typical terms are going to be staying out of trouble, maintaining contact with your probation officer, staying away from drugs or alcohol. Usually there's some aspect where you are going to have to try to maintain employment or go through school, and then other terms can vary depending on the situation. If you're charged with a drug or an operating a vehicle while intoxicated charge, typically there's going to be some sort of substance use evaluation and treatment as a term of your probation. You also might be asked to do a destructive decision panel, other classes such as a theft class, anger management. It just all depends on your particular situation. But once you're sentenced, those terms become a condition of your probation, and failure to abide by any of those can result in a violation. Now, if you get a violation, what happens? Again, it depends on the situation. Typically, you'll be notified that the probation office has filed a notice of violation. And what that normally does is the probation department is going to ask either for a hearing to be set in front of the judge or a warrant for your arrest based on the severity of the violation. If the probation office asks the judge to issue a warrant for your arrest and the judge grants that, it's likely that you're going to be held no bond until you can get in front of the judge. And ultimately what that means is you're going to have to turn yourself in, and you're going to be sitting in jail until you can get in front of a judge where an attorney can ask for a bond to be set while the probation violation is pending. Now, there are things in a probation violation hearing that are similar to your rights when the case was originally presented. So in a probation violation, you still have the right for the state to prove by preponderance of the evidence the allegations that they're alleging against you. It's not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, so it is a lower bar, but there is still rights that you have associated with a probation violation hearing. When you get a probation violation, the worst possible outcome is the amount of backup time that you had in your suspended sentence could be asked that you be served at in jail. So if you have a 1-year sentence that was completely suspended to a year of probation, if you have a violation and that's found true, then the judge could order you to serve that entire backup time in jail. And a common misconception is that you get credit time while on probation. So a big question we have is, well, I've gone 8 months out of my 1 year of probation. How could they ask for an entire year of jail when I've already served 8 months? While you're on probation, you don't get credit time for the days on probation. So what that means is if you have a year of probation and you make it to 360 days, doing just fine, and on that last week you violate, the judge could put you in jail for your full backup time, which would be a year. Now, there are many ways that you can resolve a probation violation, and it all depends on the severity of the violation. Now, if you have an attorney, you can work with probation in the state to try to work out an agreement, whether that be to add some additional terms to your probation, extend your probation for a period of time, allow you to continue on probation with strict compliance, meaning you can't get in trouble again, or depending on the severity, it could be instead of jail, you're going to serve a little bit of house arrest, or if it's a very bad violation, they could be asking for a significant amount of time in jail. Now, if you can't come to an agreement with the probation department or the state, you have two other options. One is a contested hearing where, again, the state will have to prove by preponderance of the evidence that you indeed committed that violation that's alleged. Or you can plead open to the court, where you're basically saying, yes, judge, I violated my probation. Here's the reasons why, and this is a sentence that I believe is appropriate. So what do you do if you're about to get a probation violation or if you're currently having a violation that you're notified of? The biggest thing you should do is hire an attorney as fast as you can. The attorney is going to be able to immediately work with probation and the state to try to come to a resolution that's going to be the easiest for you. In some circumstances, attorneys can ask that hearings be set in lieu of warrants being issued. So if you hired an attorney ahead of time, if you know you're about to be violated, that attorney can ask that you not go into jail and basically a hearing be set while the probation violation process works out. If you're on probation and you have a probation violation, or if you have questions about probation violations, please give us at Marc Lopez a phone call, 317-632-3642, and always remember, plead the fifth.